help us to understand the market size of dairy products here in China?
Well, frankly, we want to grow our market here. We have a lot of consumers, and you're increasing dairy in the diet. You have a very robust industry yourself in the fresh market of dairy here. But you also, as a country, import from other countries, and we want to have a bigger part of that.
Now, still, the proportion of dairy products in average Chinese diet is not necessarily as high, of course, as maybe in North America or Europe. But there is a rising trend of that as a result of the changing lifestyles here.
Yes.
So have you seen some latest numbers, or what is your assessment specifically about this market?
Well, I'll start with just echoing what you said about that the consumption of dairy is not up to even the UN FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization's recommended amounts. So there is definitely opportunity for growth for have dairy in the diet, and it's all ages. Certainly for children, I think we all know the benefits of dairy in the diet for children, but through all ages, including our elderly. So we do see the trend changing in China, the awareness of how having a healthy diet, having dairy is a part of that healthy diet. So we think that consumption will grow and will continue to be a larger part of the Chinese diet.
Well, this market is rising and also expanding, as you rightly noted, but at the same time very competitive. If you look at the market share right now, last time I read about it, 42% about New Zealand having an export market in China, and then followed by United States and Germany. But the difference between, for example, the U.S. and New Zealand is quite a huge one.
It's one we want to change, by the way.
But then, how to be competitive in this market? What do you think, with your decades-rich experience, how to make sure a market can like your products?
Well, you're exactly right, and it really is artificial barriers for us in many cases in the form of tariffs. We have tariffs on U.S. products where our competitors from New Zealand and Australia do not. So there's zero tariffs for them, and they're much higher tariffs for us depending on the product. So we're already at a disadvantage. So we're working very closely and trying to work with your government and our government from the U.S. to make sure maybe there are some changes to those tariff rates. The other thing, frankly, is proximity. We're a long way away as well, so we have to also, shipping costs are expensive as well. But we believe our products are high value, high quality. Your consumers like them, consumers want them. If we had a level playing field on tariffs, we believe we can be more competitive here.
The threat of tariff, for example, by politicians toward China, has created such a societal stir here. So, as the president of one of the most powerful agricultural associations in your country, what is your take on tariffs and your members?
You know, what we say over and over, and this is kind of a personal feeling for me as well, is that food should be taken out of the geopolitical debate. Food, every citizen in the world should have access to affordable, high nutritious, healthy foods. And unfortunately, food is often, a weapon. And it is used, against all governments, against each other. And I think that's a shame, because food should be separated, should be pulled out of those discussions and treated separately. Now, I know that may be wishful thinking. Maybe I'm a little naive to think, but I think we need to continue to talk about how do we make sure that all the citizens of the world, no matter where they are in their walk of life, have access to good, nutritious food like dairy, and U.S. is a supplier of that. So we continue to have that conversation with our government and with other governments around the world.
Rightly so. Nobody wants their dairy products to be 60% more expensive on their plate. And many families cannot afford that, by the way.
You're exactly right, and that's what happens is some of the folks who need it the most will not be able to get it. So it should be accessible, it should be affordable. And we'll continue to have that message, to our country as well as to yours, that, there is a demand for dairy, there is a need for more dairy in the diet, and in spite of your very strong industry here, there is a need to import some dairy products, and we would love to be part of the system that provides a good, I would like to say source of choice for your imports, but certainly a viable option for the Chinese.
Madam President, you understand there has been some dramatic changes over the past few years. From a very globalized approach to a more approach driven by, shall we say, competition or even rivalry. How did you observe this process as a seasoned professional, especially on policy side? And what are some of the major adjustments you have been doing in order to make sure the farmers you are representing and the professionals you are representing are not going to be most hurt?
There's a couple of things that I think that we have learned, and we certainly tried to make sure that we practice that trade has to work for both partners. So we have to listen to our trading partners more than we ever have. We have to listen to their consumers. We do research within a market to find out what consumers want, what they need. It's not just about what we want to sell or send to a market. That has certainly shifted in our industry. We listen now to our Asian counterparts who may have a different diet, a different palate, have different favorite recipes, different grandmother's favorite recipes. So we have to listen better than we have in the past to the issues that are of concern to them.